"What the fuck is going on?" I asked Annie, not even bothered to brush away the tears that I couldn't keep from falling. I watched my sister pick herself up from the floor and brace her hands on the door as we heard the sound of a second door slamming open. Mom's room. The next room in the hallway was the bathroom. Annie pulled me to my feet and handed me the knife. I shook my head and pushed it back to her, terrified of what would happen if I had to use it. Annie shoved me and pressed the knife into my hands, thumb pressing hard enough along the edge to draw blood. I watched a winding road of crimson riv- rivol oh my god, rivulets cascading down her wrist. In spite of the pain, Annie continued pushing the blade into my hands. Finally, I took it from her. Something slammed against the wall that Mom's room shared with the bathroom. A high-pitched howl followed. I held my breath and felt my heart beating frantically in the base of my throat. "I'm gonna get the phone from my room," my sister said. I shook my head dramatically in protest. Before I could say a word, Annie clamped her hand over my mouth. I could taste the blood on her hand, salty and sweet, like birthday cake on the ocean. "Yes, I'm gonna get the phone, and I'm gonna call the cops. We're going to be okay." I shook my head again. "It's the only way," Annie insisted. "When I go, I need you to lock the door. I don't want you to open it for anything or anyone. Not for me, not for anyone. Promise me." I shook my head, and Annie pressed her hand against my mouth, pushing my teeth against my lips so forcefully it made my eyes water. "Promise me, Em." Something smashed in the room next door. Annie brushed the hair from my face and gently tucked it behind my ear. "Promise," she mouthed, and unlocked the door as slowly as possible, the bolt scraping gently. I'm getting nervous. I watched the curve of her shoulder disappear into the darkened hall, like the moon in an eclipse, and then she was gone. I couldn't move or breathe for a second, and then I slammed the bolt shut as something bounced off the outside of the door. A high-pitched scream ensued, followed by the handle rattling up and down, hard enough to pop a screw loose. I watched it roll towards me on the tiles, and then everything went still. I sat with my back to the door, holding the knife and wishing I was holding Annie's hand instead. The silence continued. For a moment, the only sound was that of my breath slowly filling the room. A voice broke the illusion of solitude. "M?" A faint, a familiar voice came through the door. Startled, I gripped the knife even more firmly than before. "Honey, what's going on?" "Mom?" My voice cracked. "Mama, is that you?" I wrapped my arms around myself to keep from shaking. "Sweetie, it's okay. Just open the door. It's okay. Just let me in." The hand rattled again, gentler this time. "Just let me in. It's all okay." She banged impatiently on the door, and I took my hand off the bolt. "Honey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I missed your birthday. I'm sorry I'm such a terrible mother. Please." Her voice broke, and she started to cry. "Just let me in, baby. I'm so sorry." I screwed my eyes shut. She sounded so sad and so lost. I just wanted her to hold me, just like she did when I was a kid, when I come in with a scraped knee after falling off the swings. Maybe this time she meant it. Perhaps it would all be okay. My hands found its way to the bolt again. Oh God. My sister's voice came through the door, warm and gentle. "Yeah, yeah, Amelie? Yeah, Amelie, let us in. It's all okay." My hand froze on the bolt, and I tightened my grip on the weapon. Annie never called me by my full name. A hand banged on the door, handles rattling. "Amelie, let us in." I don't know if I'm saying that right. I think it's Emily, but I'll just say Emily. "Emily, let us in." Annie's voice became low and guttural, followed by the same thrilling giggles from before. Mom spoke now, pleading and crying, her voice growing louder and louder. "Let us in, let us in, let us in," she shouted over and over again, punctuated by her fists on the door. I thought about bedtime stories, and all the demons and monsters we pray never crawl out from under our beds. "That's not my sister, and you're not my mother," I screamed through the door, hands over my head. I climbed into the bathtub, curled in a fetal position, and clutched the knife to my chest. I didn't know what was outside that door, but I knew it wasn't Annie. It wasn't the voice that scolded me whenever I changed the TV channel, the one that sang me happy birthday, the one that told me I was smart even when I got bad grades, the one that read me stories about princesses that never wake up. It wasn't human. Bangs and yells came from downstairs, followed by the footsteps of people running. A low guttural howl ripped from the house, filling the room until I felt like I was drowning in the sound, and then the door was kicked in. I screamed, covered my eyes, and waited to die. A moment later, arms found me, lifted me from the tub, and carried me from the room. I looked at the outside of the door, as I was taken downstairs. Its exterior was covered in long, scraping claw marks stretching to the floor. I found the hallway covered in soft, drowning remains of torn-up pillows, making it appear as if it had snowed indoors. I watched the tiny feathers drift slowly, as the men in uniforms checked each of the rooms and looked like they had been ripped apart by something feral. Outside, the police cars and an ambulance waited in our driveway, and there, in the middle of it all, was Annie, bathed in blue and red light and glowing from the dark like a neon angel. I threw myself from the officer's shoulders and ran to her. Then I held then I held us both together, broken pieces and all, standing under all those constellations we concite. I don't even know these words. I'm sorry. Constellations we concoded. Muffled screaming came from the ambulance, which rocked occasionally. Annie gently turned my head away, smiling so sadly it made my chest ache. I understood. It turns out there was no demon, no wild animal or bad man trying to break in. It was just Mom, out of her mind on booze, drugs, and everything in between, coming to the end of a week-long binge. Something had finally broken inside her head, and this time we couldn't put her back together, no matter how hard we tried. Sometimes you fall one last time, and then never get back up. Annie had seen her rail-thin frame in the garden, blood dribbling from her mouth, track marks bulging from her forehead like unmapped roads, desperate for one more hit, one more fix. She'd searched the kitchen for all the alcohol I'd thrown away, and when she hadn't found any, she went hunting for the stash hidden in the bathroom. She hadn't wanted me, just the drugs on the other side of the door. She'd been so high she was able to mimic Annie's voice nearly perfectly. The real monsters are the ones that eat you alive slowly, the kind that come in a bottle or a needle, or at the end of a long list of reasons why you can't get out of bed in the morning. Sometimes, the monsters are the ones that raise you or love you the most. But it's up to you to let them in. Wow. Okay, so that was created by Maddie Kate. That was really good. I'm very impressed by that. Scary, definitely scary. I have goosebumps. I'm glad that it was kind of a happy ending, but I'm just freaked out now. But thank you for watching. That was a longer video, but I did enjoy it. So I may do one of these again. Probably not as long. I may go for a shorter one because that was a 13-minute read, and I'm pretty sure I did pretty good. I think I did around the same time as it said. But yeah, I'm gonna try and look for a shorter one, maybe like 10 minutes, 9 minutes. I know there's a 7-minute one. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.